All right, hi you guys. We are on to NF4 teaching set number 6. And I'm really excited because I really like to do these kinds of problems. So I'm really excited to do this with you. So I have my board, my whiteboard over here. Hopefully you have this in front of you. You have either printed it out, or you could even split screen, open up 2 different windows, I think, on your Chromebook and minimize it, not to the line, but where it's got the little 2 squares up in the corner. I think if you opened up 2 windows, you could actually have this open in one window and your video open in the other window. So then you could actually really watch the video and do your worksheet at the same time. So if you haven't done that, you might want to try that if that's easier for you. You can also print off the Google Classroom. You can get into the document, open it up, print it off if you have a printer. If you don't have a printer, we're also making copies at Scootney. So if you want a hard copy of this and you don't have a printer, you can go to Scootney between 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock and go grab a packet at the school in the office there. Just pull up, and the secretaries or the principal will see you, and they will come out to you, ask you what you need, and get you a packet. We also have them in Spanish, so if your moms or dads would like to help you with it and they only speak Spanish, then you can grab a Spanish packet also. So here we go. We are on number 1. Again, it's teaching set 6. We're on 4.4 NF4 6. Some students are painting a mural on the wall by the playground. The mural is taped off into 12 equal sections for the students to paint. Okay, so it shows you a picture of okay, so we have our 3x4. That would be 3 times 4, that's 12. So remember, if from my class, in my teaching, when we get to a story problem, always write down what you know. So always ask yourself, what do I know? I know you know a lot. So let's see what we know about our in our problem here. It says the mural is taped off into 12 equal sections for the students to paint. Esther paints 2 times as much as Ben. So right now, I'm putting letters for the unknown. So right now, I'm going to put E for Esther. E equals 2 times as much as Ben. So 2 times as much as Ben. That would be 2 times Ben. So far we don't know Ben, but we might know Ben later, and we can come in, and that's why we have an eraser, and we can plug in Ben. Okay? So the next one is Sarah paints 3 less than Esther. So I'm going to put Sarah paints 3 less than Esther. So that means we have to take 3 away from Esther. So Sarah paints, here's Esther, 3 less. So Esther minus 3. This is 3 less than Esther. So that's Sarah. And then Rachel, am I getting too low here? Rachel paints 3 times as much as Sarah. So 3 times as much as Sarah. 3 times Sarah. And Ben paints 2/12. So I'm going to put Ben over here. Ben equals, they give you the answer for Ben. We know what Ben paints. He paints 2/12. 2/12 of the mural. Okay, so I'm going to, then the question is, enter the fraction of the mural that needs to be painted. So after we figure all this out, fill all of this in, it's going to be what's left, what's empty, what still needs to be painted. So 2/12. So I'm gonna put Ben. Okay, Ben paints 2/12. So now we can, if we come down here to Esther, here's Ben, right? So I can take my eraser and I can put in, that's what we know, 2/12 for Esther. Okay, so Esther equals 2 times 2/12. Okay, so we've been working on a whole number times a fraction. So here we go again. We're going to put our whole number over what? 1. Okay, so 2 over 1. Then we can multiply. I'm waiting for you to answer. I can hear you even though you're at your home. Okay, right. 2 times 2 straight across. I can multiply the numerator straight across and the denominator straight across. So 2 times 2 equals 4. And 1 times 12 equals 12. Okay, so here's Esther. Esther paints 4/12 of the mural. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to fill in 4 sections with E. Okay, Esther, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/12. Okay, so now that we know Esther, we can figure out Sarah. Sarah equals Esther, take away 3. So what was Esther? Here's Esther's. So we're going to erase this. And we're going to put in 4/12. Okay, 4/12. Now this is going to be a little bit of teaching just because my classes didn't do a whole lot of addition and subtraction yet. But we can figure this out. So 4/12. Wait a second, that's not right though. Sarah paints 3 less than Esther. I'm thinking they mean 3 sections less. So it's not 2 times as much, 3 less than Esther. So if we were going to, I think what that's kind of tricky there. So 4/12 take away 3/12, I think. Let's see if this works out. Because 3 less than, 3 sections less than, and each section is 1/12. So that would be 3/12. Okay, so 4/12 take away 3/12. Denominators are the same, so I can subtract straight across. 4 take away 3. 4 take away 3 equals 1/12. The denominator stays the same when you're adding and subtracting. Okay, so that was Sarah. So Sarah did 1. Okay. And even just looking at these, I know that Esther did 4. So if I took 3 of these away, I would just have 1. You can look at it like that too. And then the last one, the last person is Rachel that we need to figure out. Rachel paints 3 times as much as Sarah. And we know Sarah is 1/12. So we can put 1/12 in for that S. Okay, so 3 times 1 is 3. And our whole number, is over 1. So 1 times 12 is 12. So Rachel painted 3/12. So Rachel. How much, the question is, how much still needs to be painted? So we have 2 empty spots. So this is 1/12. And this is 1/12. So if we were to add those together, it would be 2/12. So equals 2/12. We would add it would be 2/12 plus 4/12 plus 1/12 plus 3/12. and you have 2 left over there. All right? If you have questions about that, make sure you ask me. You can in Google Classroom or Class Dojo. Moving on to number 2. So 2/12 was the answer there. That's what is left, and that's what still needs to be painted. 2/12. I would love to Zoom with anybody who's having trouble. Okay, so make sure you let me know or Mr. O'Brady know, and we can Zoom with you. Make sure that you guys are understanding. Because fractions can be kind of intimidating. They're a little bit scary, a little bit hard. We make them hard. We make them harder than they really are. So we want to help you in understanding the fractions. So number 2. Number 2 here is some students are painting a picture to hang in the music room. Dan painted 3 times as much. So I'm just going to go through this right here. I'm just on number 2. I'm just going right through this. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 6 by 4. So 24. 6 by 4. So I'm going to have 3 lines this way. 1, 2, 3. And then I need 6 sections this way, which means I need 5 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're talking 24ths here. Dan painted, so D, we're going to do this again. Just go through and write down what we know. We know Dan, and then the question that we're looking for, again, is just like number 1. Enter the fraction of the picture that needs to be painted. So then after we get all of this figured out, what's left that still needs to be painted? Okay, so Dan painted 3 times as much as Rhett. So 3 times R, 3 times Rhett. Guy painted 3 less than Dan. So Guy, with a G, painted 3 less than Dan. So remember that this D minus, and it's going to be a fraction, in a fraction form. So 3 24ths. So 3 320. Let me erase that better. So 3 24ths. Okay. And then Rhett painted 2 24ths of the picture. So that one's given. Rhett is 2 24ths. And Isaac painted twice as much as Guy. So Isaac equals twice as much. What does twice mean? Good. 2 times as much. So 2 times Guy. 2 times Guy. So we know Rhett is 2 24ths. So we're going to put an R and an R. Okay? For Rhett. Okay, now we're going to go back in, and where the R is, we can plug in 2 24ths. So Dan is 3 times 2 24ths. 2 24ths. Okay, so the whole number is over 1. So we go top, numerator, 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And 1 times 24. So 6 24ths is what Dan painted. So I'm going to put in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Dan. And then we go to Guy, and we now know Dan. We know the D there. So I'm going to put in 6 24ths. 6 24ths. So I'm going to take the 6, take away 3. So 6 take away 3, the numerator's there. Because the denominators are the same, 24, 24, then we can just subtract the numerators. So 6 take away 3 is 3. and you leave it over 24. The size of the part does not change, the 24ths. That's why when you're adding and subtracting, you're still adding, subtracting the same size. And so we don't subtract the denominators. Okay, just the numerators. So 3/24 is what Guy did. So 1, 2, 3, and then we have one more over here. So now that we know that Guy painted 3/24, we can put that in for our missing G over here. So 3/24. Okay, so 2/1. So Isaac, just let's multiply those straight across. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 equals 6. 1 times 24 is 24. So 6/24. So let's put in I for 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the question is, what still needs to be painted? What fraction still needs to be painted? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7/24 still need to be painted. All right, so if you have questions, make sure that you ask me or ask Mr. O'Brady. You can ask me on Class Dojo, or you can ask through Google Classroom. Shoot me a question there. And then you have student set number 6 on your own. There's just 2 of them, and they're exactly like what we just did. The fraction that still needs to be painted, fraction that still needs to be painted. Okay, so they're both exactly the same. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.